USC does.
I know he's not a good quarterback.
Oh, and that in Big Ten play would be, he's going to get swallowed.
He got swallowed by Ohio State.
Yes.
What's going to happen when he plays a real team?
Every game. They open their season against Utah.
Oh, Dundada.
Their Big Ten schedule is Northwestern, Penn State, Michigan
to get him,
State,
Penn State to get him.
Maryland, Indiana, Nebraska, Ohio State.
Ohio State will get him.
Washington
to get him.
And USC.
USC will get him. That's 5 losses right there, baby.
Hate to see it.
No, they're gonna get wrecked. That's great. Where's Nico from? He's one of those Samoan
He's from Long Beach.
names. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Going home.
Good for him. I'm glad that it
I don't think it's
worked
official, but I think Colin Cowherd reported it yesterday, and he's usually pretty tapped in.
Okay. What was the song?
The song was These Arms of Mine by Otis Redding.
Oh, Pete.
Duh. He just has the silkiest voice.
That's such a good
They
voice.
are lonely.
The soul music from that era, Otis Redding, Al Green, Marvin Gaye, it's just, those crooners back then were special. We don't do crooning like that no more. They just beg. Sam Cooke. Oh, another good one. Oh my gosh.
Made me want to just go put on Otis Redding and
Put on what?
stare at the ceiling.
Put on what?
Put on Otis Redding and just stare at the ceiling.
Yeah.
Just listen to some oldies. If it was raining, it'd feel better. That's how I'm going to get hyped for Grizzlies Mavs.
Bring the rain in and
just
sit
gonna
down
listen
and
to
listen
Otis
to Otis
Redding.
Redding. Yo, listen. I know pollen's supposed to be bad this
Oh,
year.
it's out of control. I can barely talk.
Mosquitoes are terrible.
That too.
I didn't realize I had bites on my head until I put the headphones on.
Walked to the river last night, got 3 more.
Oh my God.
It's too early for bug spray season. What's up, everybody? It is Thursday, April 17th. It is going to be a good day. Jessica Benson with you from the Grind City Media Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. Coming up on today's show, Grizzlies will play the Dallas Mavericks in Friday's elimination play-in game here at FedEx Forum after the Mavs beat the Kings last night. We'll dive into that game, plus a look ahead at Friday's matchup. Grizzlies beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal, Damichael Cole, is going to join us in studio to talk all things Grizzlies. We also have to go through that 2-minute report from the Grizzlies-Warriors game. Nothing you can do about it now. Certainly one that stung a bit looking at it yesterday. It is Thursday, so Teresa Walker will join us from the AP. Former Vols QB Nico Iamaleava has picked UCLA, reportedly, allegedly. We'll chat with Teresa about his departure from the University of Tennessee. We are also 1 week out from the NFL draft. We'll get her take on the biggest storylines going into draft week, and then we'll do a little Theater Thursday, some movie news, some theater news to wrap this up. We also have a Sonic Mailbag question of the week. Don't let us forget it. We won't forget it. It's a Thursday. You know what we say.
Us.
We always forget it.
It's your show.
You're the producer.
It's your show.
You're the organizer.
I just pushed the buttons. That was a role thrust upon me. I never wanted that role.
Are you ready? Creed. By overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With special guests 3 doors down. And Mammoth WVH. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Creed returns, the Summer of '99 tour.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals takes it straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Double your chances to win all month long in March with 2 big promotions. On Fridays, embrace the madness and win a share of $150,000 in cash and free play. On Saturdays, starting March 8th, go for the gold and win your share of up to $10,000 in cash and free play in the $80K Fool's Gold giveaway. Enjoy live entertainment all month long and play for your chance to win big in March only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
I never in a million years would have ever thought that John Cena's final run would be as a heel.
I love it.
I love it.
Once they saw this from The Rock.
They knew it. Everybody knew it except for Cody, which was so good.
Great camera work by WWE.
And then the kick. Yeah, I don't think WWE gets enough credit for the camera work and the production quality. I mean, it is incredible.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Debo traded from San Francisco to the Commanders for a 5th round pick. There's no other sport where you would get a player of his ilk for a 5th round pick.
Over under total yards for Debo. If they set it at 1,000, you think he hits that over?
Total yards?
Total yards from scrimmage. Total yards.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Feels great to feel the sunshine. Gotta own the day like it's all mine. Just got paid in his own time. Been working hard, I've been on the grind. I deserve this feeling, having my way. I've been on this healing. This is my day. The sun's out, let's have a little fun now. I wanna let it all out. That's what it's all about. Cause I deserve this feeling, having my way. I deserve this healing. This is my day.
Grind City Media presents The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. Live from the Grind City Media Studios on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Happy Thursday, happy almost Friday, everybody. Almost do or die time in Memphis, Tennessee. And the Grizzlies now know who they will play in tomorrow's play-in game. Yes, CJ, hand straight in the air to start the show.
Is this stave season?
Are we staving off elimination?
Can we stave in the play-in?
I think you can.
So it's stave
If
season.
the ground towels are out, if a
love
plaza
stave
party is to be had, I think you are staving off.
But does it have to be a series, though? Because we don't stave off elimination in the NCAA tournament and other single game scenarios.
I think
right?
we should.
Like the NFL.
I think that's a them problem.
They're not calling Super Wild Card Weekend stave off elimination weekend, right? Like that's not something that happens. It has to be. Does it have to be a series to get the good stave in?
You could say technically it is a 2-game situation while it is not a 2-game series. It is 2 games against different opponents. So it's a 2-game format for the 2 teams left in the winner of last night's game, the loser. So you talk about stave season. I was going to ask, what do we call when a beam goes out? Because the Dallas Mavericks blanked the beam. Do we extinguish a beam? Oh. Do we diffuse a beam?
Oh.
Do we
deflect? We deflect beams.
Is that
physics? Yes. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We
Big
deflect,
science show.
We deflect. I flunked out of pharmacy school. Trust me.
Deflecting beams doesn't sound that great.
Physics. Yeah, well, you got to deflect them.
Deflecting doesn't feel finite. It feels like, oh, you just deflected the beam to another season. And if it's the Sacramento Kings right now, the next season doesn't seem particularly inspiring either.
You have to turn off a beam.
I imagine it like a lightsaber situation. Like
correct.
You press the button and it just goes.
Yeah, and it goes away.
Well, they turned off the beam.
They turned off the beam. I just say deflect the beam. It's fine. Because you deflect it to a less
I like
harmful
that you extinguish
situation.
it because I think of a beam like light. and I think of light like a flame, and I think you extinguish a flame.
You just extinguished my flame with that explanation.
You extinguish the beam. Anyway, the Mavs won 120-106. Whoa, were those two? Those were 2 games played last night. Those were 2 basketball games by all technical standards that were played last night in the East and the West. I saw somebody describe last night's play-in games as an overpriced, straight out of the freezer appetizer that was microwaved and still absolutely ice cold in the middle. I could take one bite and you say, nope,
I've had
that's not for me.
That happened a couple of times at TGI Fridays, Applebee's. Like that spinach dip comes out. It's like, hey,
Just a little cold.
it's cold in the middle, man. Nuke that for
That game was just a little cold. And after watching the first game of the night, the Bulls beat the Heat again, or I'm sorry, the Heat beat the Bulls again. This is a 3rd straight play-in tournament where the Heat have beaten the Bulls. Some of the worst defense I have ever watched in a play-in tournament. Don't look for the stats on it. Just trust me, the eyeball test of it, I was like, oh my God, the Bulls do not have any intention of trying to participate in this game defensively. I thought the Heat were going to score 150 points last night. They don't, but they do get the win. And then you go into the Western Conference game, and sometimes the games in the West have notoriously been more entertaining, more exciting than the play-in games in the East. Certainly was the case with the first set of games. You had the Magic just completely destroying the Hawks, and then you got a great one between the Grizzlies and the Warriors. So you're like, okay, maybe this Mavs-Kings game is going to give us something this evening. The environment in Sacramento seemed big. Both the environments last night for the play-in tournament games were exciting, and the fans were super into it. And then all of a sudden, the second quarter hits, and next thing I know, the Dallas Mavericks are up 23, and it feels all but over. And yes?
How about Klay Thompson?
How about Klay Thompson?
As annoying and dweeby as he is, that's a champion. That's a future Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer. Statistically speaking, a top 5 3-point shooter of all time. Personally speaking, I'd have him top 3. I'm not going to give the order because I don't want to talk about Steph right now, but I'd have him in the top 3 of all-time greatest shooters. Last year, we blamed him for the play-in loss to the Kings. I had forgotten that he was 0 for 10 in that play-in game, all but ushering himself out of Golden State.
It was such a disappointing end. I mean, certainly our household will never forget the 0 for 10 Klay Thompson play-in tournament game because it was a culmination of all the frustrations for Klay that season as the contract negotiations and his future in Golden State were spiraling to an end after so many people had just assumed like he is a forever Warrior, and then he's not, and he's not the shooter that he once was, and that play-in game was emblematic of how bad it had gotten, or at least the feeling of how bad that it had gotten. And then last night, it's the ultimate Klay Thompson revenge game. And watching how it started, you could feel the tension for him like coming out of this TV screen. He misses his first 2 threes that he takes. It's, I think, the 8:30 mark in the second quarter, and he still hasn't scored. And he fires up a 3 off a handoff, and the bounce for that 3 was like a gift. Like, all right, you're due for one to go in. We'll give it to you. The basketball gods gave Klay Thompson a make in that scenario. And then he goes 4 for 4 in the second quarter. And between him and Anthony Davis, the two of them outscored the Kings' entire team in that second quarter. Mavs put up 44, Kings scored 19. It was a real balance of the Mavs suffocating defense on all that size and then having a huge just offensive output in that second. And Klay Thompson was a big part of it. And he ends 8 of 11 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3. And I just find it very soothing. Like, no matter how you feel about Klay Thompson, because chances are he shot your team out of a game at some point in time in his career, and animosity grows from players like that, but you can still respect it. And when you watch someone who you respected in the game have a moment as awful as last year's play-in tournament was, you can't help but enjoy watching a redemption story like we saw last night. And I know it's one single play-in tournament game, but you don't always have an opportunity to exercise exact demons. And Klay Thompson got to exercise the literal demon of playing against the Sacramento Kings and getting to write a different story this time around. And he was excited about it after the game. And it's so interesting because by no means was like, how does this Mavericks season affect Klay Thompson at the top of my list of how I was viewing the lens of the chaos of Dallas this year. Like, they trade Luka Doncic, my brain doesn't go, I wonder how Klay Thompson feels about the Luka trade. Kyrie blows out his knee. I'm not sitting here like, wow, what does this do for the legacy and life of Klay Thompson? But that has to be so stinking terrible for him to make the decision to leave Golden State, to not be able to get that worked out, to have the sign and trade with the Dallas Mavericks, to go. You're joining a team that made the finals last year. You're joining up with Luka Doncic, one of the best players in the world. You're joining up with Kyrie Irving. And then both of those things happen. Luka's gone, Kyrie's hurt, and suddenly you're looking around like, what the hell happened to this season? What the hell happened to my season? So now they're alive, but I hope he doesn't make another 3 again, because I don't want to see that in FedEx Forum tomorrow night.
Good thing Klay Thompson is
Got it out
coming
of his
into
system.
FedEx Forum against a team that does a really good job of defending the 3 and rotating and running shooters off of the 3-point line.
Is that team in the room with us?
No, I'm just being facetious. That's not what they're good at.
I will say, plus side, I think the Mavs made 8 threes in that second quarter. Okay. They only made 14 in the game. Okay. And I think of their last 10 games, they've only hit 10 made threes 4 times. So it's a bit of an abomination.
Does it matter?
It's a bit of an abomination. It's not as if the Mavs are a elite 3-point shooting team, but perhaps Klay Thompson has re-entered postseason Klay. I don't know. I watched that Mavericks team last night. Well, one, I watched the Kings and just said, wow, you have no future. Like, this is a tough scene for Sacramento. And 2 years ago, it felt like they were on the upsurge. They're the 3 seed. De'Aaron Fox has that big game and their opening playoff performance. And you're like, wow, the future's so bright for the Sacramento Kings. That beam is going to stay lit. And now we're talking about extinguishing beams and deflecting beams and turning off beams. And I just don't see a whole lot of excitement if you're Sacramento. They fired their mutually parted ways. That is like, that's my favorite fake term that we do in the world. It's not just sports. It's in any business and relationships. We mutually parted ways with one another. No,
unless you both
they went another direction from their general manager last night.
Unless you both looked at each other in the eye on the couch and said, hey, we should break up. Jinx. It wasn't mutual. Somebody had to say it first.
Mm-hmm. Somebody had more leverage in
said it
the
first.
situation.
Right.
And one would anticipate that to be the Sacramento Kings organization. And you saw the writing on the wall. Like, unless things had changed dramatically for the Kings when they fired Mike Brown in the middle of the season, and that all but kind of set off the series of events of De'Aaron Fox wanting out. You lose the leverage in the De'Aaron Fox situation. Now you've lost your young star. He's off in San Antonio. You have all this money tied up in DeRozan and Levine and Sabonis. And Domantas Sabonis looked terrible last night. So much has been put into the, like, is Domantas Sabonis an empty calories regular season type player? We do that with bigs, and he has had that stank put on him. And last night was certainly the case. Like, all 3 Mavs bigs made him look completely useless on the court. I think he had 5 turnovers. He was just getting demolished.
He's such a good facilitator.
Yes.
Somebody to run the offense through. As a facilitator, you're only as good as the pieces around you, though. Right? Like, Jokic is a big who's a facilitator, and he can throw the ball to Michael Porter Jr., who's a tremendous spot-up shooter. He can get the ball to Aaron Gordon, who's a good finisher around the rim. And when Jamal Murray is healthy, he's one of the best perimeter players in the NBA, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think you can say that about the supporting cast around Sabonis. It is fine that they've got Levine and DeRozan, but outside of those two, I'm not really sure how much is there. Also, DeRozan does his work in the mid-range. If you're a big who's facilitating, guess where you want to be? In the mid-range. Mm-hmm. DeRozan wants to do his work off of the bounce, not necessarily off of cuts and things like that. So as a big who's trying to facilitate, like, it's hard to pair that with a player like DeMar DeRozan, who came along in the worst possible era for somebody like that. We would be gobbling DeRozan up if he played in the 90s or the 80s. That mid-range game he has, incredible. But I'm not sure how well that pairs with somebody like Sabonis right now. They've got some things to figure out. They've got pieces that people would want, Levine, DeRozan, and Sabonis. I'm just not sure how they all fit together.
Those guys.
I don't know how they all fit together and what you can put around them.
you don't have a clear number one. Like at this point in their careers.
Do you need one?
Yes.
Who's the clear number one on the Celtics?
I would still say Jason Tatum.
Okay. Because I wouldn't.
Continue the exercise.
I wouldn't. I'd say Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
The clear number one on the Thunder is Shea.
Period.
Obviously. Clear number one for the Nuggets, Jokic. Period.
Clear number one for the Rockets is Jalen Green.
Clear
even
number
with
one,
the emergence of Şengün.
Clear number one for the Lakers?
Yeah, but now we're talking about one of the greatest players of all time and one of the current greatest players. That's a different situation, though.
That's two teams,
Okay,
though.
when have we ever seen? We've been talking about this for months in the unification of LeBron and Luka. That's an anomaly.
Saw LeBron and Dwayne Wade, and there was a clear number one in that situation.
Did you see all the big three conversation that popped off? I didn't really follow it yesterday.
Who was no?
Somebody they're leaving Bosch out.
No, you can't do that.
I know. It was weird.
We will not allow
it was weird random slander crossing the timeline on the day.
One of the greatest bigs of his era to be left out.
If you're Sacramento,
the problem is the damn offensive rebound that kept them alive.
Exactly.
The rebound and the assist.
Everything,
Get out of here,
every
man.
one of them
Shut
mattered
up.
in their own way. It was a weird thing to throw out. I do think you need a number one player, and you lost it in De'Aaron Fox. So who that is now is bad news. For the Mavs, if they had a healthy Kyrie Irving, Nico Harrison has to be sick for a multitude of reasons, because it continues to appear that Nico is not the ones, and we've known this. Like, it's not like Nico is making all of these decisions unilaterally. There is somebody above him. It is the ownership that is making him do some of these things. At least that was the reporting about the latest mishap in them having the closed door, no cameras, no audio recording meeting that Tim McMahon has reported on. And now Tim McMahon has floated out that he has a story that's going to drop once the Mavs are eliminated on the fracturing of the relationship between Dirk and the Dallas Mavericks, which, as we discussed yesterday, it just seems like a bit of a silly thing to do. A continuation of silly things. However, if Kyrie Irving is healthy and that version of the Dallas Mavericks pops off with Kyrie, they could be making a legitimate run this year. I don't think that's a crazy leap to be making. The size that they have, they went so big last night to start that game. They're playing Najee Marshall at point guard. Their guard play is nearly non-existent, but they almost don't have to have anything. They just need somebody who can get it to their towers, whether it be Anthony Davis, who also anchors their defense, and they alter so many shots at the rim. It is so difficult to score in the paint on this team. And then you have Gafford and you have Lively, and I don't know, the vision is there. I get it. Like when Nico's saying defense wins championships, there's more validity to him not just throwing away a standard cliche and him looking at that roster as it was supposed to be with Kyrie facilitating and leading that offense, but to remove that piece of it. They can't be the first number 10 seed to make it to the playoffs, CJ. I won't take it.
No, it can't happen.
It can't happen.
It can't happen.
You can't have history made here at FedEx Forum.
They just need somebody to drive that thing. That's all.
Yeah, and imagine if it was Kyrie freaking Irving.
Or somebody, or imagine if you, instead of just giving Luka away for a pick in Anthony Davis, you find a way to involve some other teams to get some other assets that could have helped you just in case Kyrie Irving went out. Once they get somebody to drive that, if they can keep everybody healthy, which is a big if, but if you can keep the PJ Washington, Gafford, Lively, Anthony Davis, if you can keep those four healthy and get somebody to drive those four and then build around, I can see how you build around that. That is going to be really, really fun. That's going to be like a new age Lob City type of thing. That would be great. You'll always have a lob threat on the court. And Anthony Davis, while he is not a top 5 player in the NBA, I mean, it's top 15, top 20 in the league.
Top 15 at least. I'm not expanding it to 20.
Oh, he's.
I'd put it in the 10 to 15 clearly.
So
and on good
also.
days, sometimes you squint and say, "Is he still a top 10 player in the league?"
Right.
Yes.
So he's close to, not close. He's one of the best players in the league.
Yes.
So you got that on your roster, as well as consistent, constant lob threats, be it Lively or Gafford. Tremendous defense as well. Yeah, that team, if they find somebody who can drive it, is in a good place. But Nico messed up in not shopping Luka around, getting the best deal possible for his services. That's where I think I'm frustrated with him the most is, hey, okay, you want to trade him? Fine. get more than what you got for him.
Yeah. All right. It is Grizzlies Mavs tomorrow at FedEx Forum. And some good news for fans. If you want a ticket to tomorrow night's game, all you have to do is show up at FedEx Forum later today because Jaren Jackson Jr. is giving away tickets to the first 250 fans who show up at FedEx Forum later this evening. I believe it is 2 tickets per person. So that's 500 tickets being given away. All you have to do is come to FedEx Forum. First 250 will get free tickets. That's awesome. We love free things. We love free things to big events, and this is a massive game for the Grizzlies. You have to have true home court advantage. It matters. You cannot allow the Dallas Mavericks to become the first ever 10 seed to make it out of the play-in tournament. You do not want to facilitate history. You want to shut that down, have the opportunity for this Grizzlies team to make it into the playoffs. There were lofty, lofty goals at the beginning of the season, and to fail to make the playoffs will signify a pretty disappointing run. Even if it means going and facing an Oklahoma City Thunder team that has beaten you by an average of 18 points in the games that you have played against them this season. Even so, we will talk to Damichael Cole, beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal of the Memphis Grizzlies, all about the matchup with the Mavericks, what he will remember when he thinks of that Grizzlies-Warriors lost play-in tournament game that put the Grizzlies in this situation, and looking ahead for what this means for the Grizzlies long term. That's with Damichael when we come back.
Touched on this earlier, the panel here, about what really has been the mainstay of the Grizzlies, and that's Jaren Jackson Jr. Trip has just been awesome.
He's posting guys up. He's stronger than he's ever been. He's physical, and he's scoring all type of ways.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Bain drives.
Oh yeah.
Close. He hits and the Grizzlies have the lead.
Yeah!
Jaren with a knockaway.
Good defense.
Durant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
Let's go!
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
The new issue of Slam, the cover dropped, and it is our friend Jaren Jackson Jr. on the cover.
And shout out to you, Lane.
Yeah.
You kept, well, I mean, we knew about it, but you kept this a secret the whole time. So shout out to you for
I wrote
putting
this story.
together.
We did the photo shoot a couple weeks ago here on a Sunday afternoon in the practice court. The Sneak Fest show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
I see people who look like me and were born probably in the same decade as me, watching all of these young people jump into the transfer portal and saying, it's ridiculous. You got to stop thinking about this like it's a normal college experience. It is not. You know what the priority is? Maximize your earning potential for every year of eligibility you have left. That's what this is about now. These are jobs.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Joining us this morning is Damichael Cole, beat reporter for the Memphis Grizzlies for the Commercial Appeal and co-host of the Locked On Grizzlies podcast. Damichael, thanks for being here so early.
I'm happy. I think this is my first time actually on here.
I think so too.
So
we've been talking about it.
We've been talking about it.
I always, as just somebody who hates asking people to do things that I know I would hate being asked to do, but would also feel like I would want to say yes. I hate asking people to come on early. It is 8:28 in the morning,
It is
so
early,
I get it. Things are going, and we have so much to get through. Before we turn the page to the Grizzlies-Mavs game coming up on Friday, which we do now know the Grizzlies' opponent, of course, I did want to go back to the game against the Warriors, which you were at, and we did get the last 2-minute report yesterday, which shows a handful of errors for both sides, and that can be the case when you're looking at these 2-minute reports. And I remember watching it live. People were like, oh, this 2-minute report's going to be a doozy. And it was a doozy. One of the calls that stands out the most, and again, you always have to factor in if everything on the 2-minute report was changed, like the factors would be different in some regard, like even the Zach Edey offensive goaltending, so that would take something back. But if you think about it from the context of the Grizzlies should have had the ball with 7 seconds down 1, that is a tough thing to fight through. Even if Ja Morant did foul Steph Curry, and you're looking at that in a 2-minute report in this alternate reality. But it does feel like a pretty big thing to miss. And it never makes it any easier to read through it because these things don't get changed.
And the main thing to me is it didn't even get reviewed. And but it's weird looking back on it because I remember seeing during the game, you saw Ja Morant talking to the refs.
He's like, I fouled him.
Yeah, I couldn't make out what he was saying because, I was looking at a different viewpoint. I guess on TV you could see kind of him mouth that or say that or whatever the case may be. But all I got out of it was he was talking to the refs. And then I saw people saying what you just alluded to was that, he's telling the refs that he fouled him. But the 2-minute report, 1, didn't show that. 2, you didn't see, at least I didn't see, the Grizzlies bench, hey, go look at that. It's under 2 minutes. The refs can do, a official refs review or whatever the case may be. But they didn't do that. So, I mean, it was puzzling.
It was one of those rare instances where there were enough bad calls on both sides that I felt like it almost neutralized both fan bases. It's always easier for the team who wins. But
I sensed that too. You saw the Warriors fans' reaction. They're like, well, we won. And then Grizzlies fans, it's like, 7 seconds left. We could have called 12, and in San Francisco. So, yeah.
But instead, it's a situation where you're down 3 and you don't get the ball in. Is that the thing you'll remember from that game?
Oh, for sure. That's exactly what I wrote. It's like I felt like I had to write about that play because and I'm almost like the coaches from the standpoint of the game never comes down to one play. But at the same time, one play is always going to stick out and be remembered. Or whether it's a shot, whether it's a bad foul, whether it's North Carolina, Michigan in the Final Four and the timeout, the Chris Webber timeout. It's always one thing that sticks out despite all the little things that happens during the game. And I was like, that's it. That's the play that's going to stick out.
Yeah, and it puts you in this headspace of what if they had just gotten it? And, of course, so many other things could have happened. Golden State could have fouled up 3, although I live with a Warriors fan, and he would like you to think, if you think Steve Kerr is always that smart of a coach, you are misunderstanding the situation yourself. But even if they do get it in, you miss the shot or whatever could have transpired. But it is hard. And it did feel not just from the representation of that game, that play felt like a symbol of the season to a certain degree. And it comes in the context of the game. You build a big hole, you come back, you're good enough to get back into the game, you try, you play hard, you're right there, and then late game execution has consistently bit this team in the butt.
That's literally been the second half of the season. And you look at a lot of these games that they've lost recently, it's, we put ourselves in the hole, we fight back, we got a chance, and then they lose against these quality opponents. And for a while, like late February, early March, we were like, hey, they're showing some fight. And then after a while, the moral victories, they cease because you're falling lower and lower down the standings. In this case, now you're playing for your season. And I know everyone was talking about the play, and some people were saying, oh, it took too long to develop. And, I actually fight back against that because, it did take a while. While I agree, let me say this. I agree that the play took a while to develop, but at the same time, it had to because, as you said, Golden State was up 3. People were talking about, oh, Luke Kennard was open under the basket or whatever the case may be. Well, the play is drawn up for Desmond Bane. So you have to wait on Desmond Bane to flare to the corner before you can throw the ball out there. That's the first read. Now, with that being said, should Santi have been quicker and getting to the next read or whatever the case may be? Possibly. But you're down 3. You need a 3. You really have to throw the ball behind the three-point line. It's just a tough situation. That's why all the little things, no one really talk about, Scotty missed the free throw. That would have made it a 2-point game in the last minute. Little things like that really get overlooked. But, that's what happened when you play good teams.
Yeah, there was even it was some Scotty shot down the stretch that I didn't even think about because so much of the focus got made on the defense that Scottie Pippen played on Steph Curry. And it's been pointed out, and you have to get physical with Steph and understand, and again, this comes from somebody who lives with a Golden State Warriors superfan who loves Steph Curry more than he loves me. Steph gets one of the worst whistles in the league. So play that to your advantage and understand that you can play Steph historically a little more physical than maybe other superstars that we've seen through the test of time. But there were a couple shots from Scottie Pippen Jr. down the stretch where I remember vocally saying, oh, I don't need Scottie to be taking that shot. But then at the same time, the pushback is, well, somebody's got to take it. And you want to trust the 5 you have on the court at the end of the game. And I do think that's more symbolic of there are just missing pieces of this, no matter what lineup you were throwing out, maybe it's a hole defensively, maybe it's a hole offensively, where there's just not this level of straight confidence. And that's why you have a Grizzlies team that's playing for their life on Friday as opposed to someone easily in the first round of a playoff. And even if they win this game tomorrow, they will not be favored against the Oklahoma City Thunder. It would feel like a win to get a game, which is a shaky ground to start on. I am curious from your perspective on the mentality of should the Grizzlies win this game tomorrow? Because I am of the belief system, if you're playing a game, you're playing to win.
Yeah.
And I would assume that that's how the team operates.
For sure.
And the players operate.
Of course.
But there is a heavy contingency of people who point out, hey, it's not the worst thing in the world if we lose, you don't have to play the Thunder, and you get to keep your first-round draft pick. Where do you fall with it?
So where I'll agree with those people is I'm a big picture thinker in this situation. Where I disagree is our big pictures are not alike. Their big picture is, let's keep the pick and, you get another asset or whatever the case may be. I do not agree with that. I think in this case, if you're the Grizzlies, you use this as a measuring stick. This is a huge summer. I think what I said before this season, the biggest loss to last season, in addition to all the injuries, was not having the ability to see where you stood in the Western Conference with John Morant, Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr. They had no clue coming into this season where they were. I mean, you had hope, but you had no clue of where they stood. And that kind of set them back a year, in the timeline, in my opinion. So you come into this year, you play, see how the year plays out. And early on, we're thinking they're really, really good. And then, of course, things happen, and it's like there's some flaws here. So I think, in my opinion, you want to win because you go against the best team in the West all year long, right? Who else is better to see where you stand? And not just from this season standpoint, but what off-season moves do we need to make to get better? How are we going to know that if we don't play against the best defense, the best scorer, the best team from the beginning of the season to the end? I want that test in terms of let's see where we stand so we can know what we need to do in the offseason to get better.
I also stand in the playoff reps develop playoff scars. And you need a lot of scar tissue. That's just a fact of the matter. And that comes for young players like a Zach Edey, like a Scottie Pippen Jr., but it also comes for your older players. At the end of the day, considering how long Ja, Jaren, and Dez have been on the same roster.
Right.
We have not seen infinite reps with those three all playing together, and so it represents an opportunity to get a little bit more of that. Now, I can understand fans are like, well, we've seen it through the regular season. Do I really need the humiliation test of going up against the Oklahoma City Thunder? I get that, but I do think it's important. And for Jaren, you've pointed out, I saw you tweet earlier this morning, and I think it's crystal clear, like who the biggest game opportunity is in this upcoming game against the Dallas Mavericks. And it's likely Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yes.
Why is that your perspective?
I mean, this Mavs front court is huge, and there aren't a lot of built-in advantages that the Grizzlies or pretty much any other team will have in attacking them in the paint. I think ESPN, when they were showing the game, they kept showing the points in the paint stat because it's hard. Because in your mind, it's like, oh, I get past Daniel Gafford, and boom, here comes Anthony Davis. And, oh, I got past Anthony Davis, then boom, here comes Derek Lively. And then you get past both of them, and then P.J. Washington, who's normally a 4, is playing the 3. And it's like, how do you score on the inside? The Grizzlies have built their team on scoring in the paint over the last 6 years. The whole Taylor Jenkins, Ja Morant tenure, they've been built on playing inside out, scoring in the paint. They've always been near the top of the league in paint scoring. The Mavs erased that. It's going to take jump shooting, which goes back to the guards. You're going to need Desmond Bane to knock down some shots, Ja Morant, etc. Jaren is the one guy, size-wise and skill-wise, who you can say, I can get in the paint. I don't have to, like Ja's going to get in there and do his thing. Ja's going to make some floaters. But he's probably going to have to do some reverse layups. He's going to have to spin around a little bit. He's going to get a little acrobatic.
How do you avoid all those arms?
Jaren can just go over the top of him for the most part. Now, Edey's going to make it challenging, but he's done it against him before, against Gafford. He's the one guy who can do that. Will he be able to do it? That's the question.
Do you need some water?
Yeah.
I know you're choked up about the thought of playing perhaps the last game of the season, but we don't want it to be the last game of the season.
But
how do you, I was going to ask you, how do you explain, because this is a common, I'm sure you're like me, you get the same questions over and over, and one of the biggest is, what happened to Jaren? And the drop-off from talking about him as a potential Defensive Player of the Year candidate to a assured he's putting together an all-NBA season to now we will have to wait because I've seen just as many ballots with him on it as I have without. Where did that drop-off come in your mind?
Yeah. Well, he was on my ballot. I think this is the first time I said that. So he was on mine. I had Jaren 13 on mine. But the drop-off, I think, kind of came with the Grizzlies drop-off at the same time. So with Jaren, excuse me.
You're good.
The main thing for him was, I think when the system changed, there were a lot of there were, built in. So here's how I look at it. We looked at earlier in the season with the offense, and everyone was getting their touches, whatever the case may be. Jaren was exceeding. Jaren was playing like the best player on the team. Now, if you go back since March, Ja Morant has easily looked like the best player on the team. Ja Morant has really excelled as the Grizzlies have ramped up their pick-and-roll usage. Pick-and-roll has never been at the top of Jaren Jackson Jr.'s game. He's more of a pick-and-pop guy. He's very elite in the self-creation categories, as a scorer at least. They're not doing as much of that now. It's heavy pick-and-roll, and to me, it's like you have to find the balance between getting the best out of Jaren, between getting the best out of Ja Morant. Right now, they're getting the best out of Ja Morant. Early this season, we were questioning if this offense fits Ja Morant, but they were getting the best out of Jaren Jackson Jr. I mean, he was elite. So there's a balance in there somewhere where you're saying Jaren is at his best when you have this free-flowing style and you can let just everybody get out of his way and let him do his thing. Ja's at his best when Zach Edey comes up there, drills a guy, gives him some space, and he's able to operate in short bursts. So it's finding a balance.
Yeah, and that's another bonus of having a playoff series to try and figure out how do those two things coexist in a more efficient way. We saw Scottie get the start against the Warriors, which proved to be a great decision.
Yeah.
But all I can think about is all that size with the Mavs. Do they go with Santi? What's your prediction?
Ooh,
It's probably not Vince Williams Jr. I'm going to go out on a limb and think that might have seen its last 2024-2025 moment.
I like what you said. I think you go with Santi. I mean, if we're talking matchups here, because P.J. Washington is typically a 4 for them. He was a 4 the whole run. when they went to the finals. I think you go with Santi. Santi's played some minutes at the 3. Santi, when he's been at the 3, has been a really good rebounder. Like, if you go back and see the games that he played at the 3, he rebounded the ball really well. That's something that P.J. Washington has done for Dallas. So you kind of, even out on that end. I like Santi at the 3.
Yeah.
I like that.
And maybe this Mavs team, it's not quite as big of a defensive liability as it would be against others.
Yeah, because you got P.J. Washington at 3. You don't have to worry about,
Famous last words for this team.
You don't have to worry about, a lot of the things that those smaller, more nimble wing players, so to speak. P.J. Washington can play on the wing, but, he spent a lot of his career playing at power forward. So I think Santi is the same way. And, I think you go with Santi, especially in this case, because you go smaller, that's kind of, it's not really the recipe against Dallas.
It'll be a big game for Zach Edey, too, of
Huge
course.
game for him.
And to come off of a game, a second half against the Warriors, I should say, where he was much improved in the second half, he's been massive on the boards. Is that enough for you? When it comes to Zach Edey, as a rookie, this is one of the biggest
really
points of debate.
Right? Yeah.
The Zach Edey hive is on one side being like, what more do you want from him? And others are saying, well, I want him to already be at a year 3, year 4 level. But you are stuck with a rookie center who is in the midst of his rookie campaign, or rookie season, I should say. And they simply need more, but it's not that he's giving you nothing. He's not giving you bad reps. He already has shown promise in what he could do. Would I love to see him just dunk the ball when he's 2 feet away from the basket? I think that'd be a great level of growth to focus on. Me and many, the chorus rings large. But for you, how do you play the Zach Edey evaluation at this point in the season?
I think he's solid, and solid is good for a rookie, but you want, as you said, if you're talking what the Grizzlies need, you need him to be playing like a 3rd year, 4th year guy, whatever the case may be. And it's just a situation, right? Like, Brandon Clark is hurt. So you have him on the floor, Zach Edey, that is, now in closing situations. We didn't see that much over the course of the season. There were a lot of times during the season he'd come out 6-7 minutes left in the 4th quarter. We wouldn't see him anymore in the game. Now you're playing Golden State, who has arguably the most prolific pick and roll tandem we've seen this century. And you're being asked to guard it, right? Like, we saw that on a couple of plays down the stretch. So there's a learning that's happening for him. I think he's a really good learner. That's the biggest thing that I've learned about Zach Edey covering him this year. When they say, oh, Zach, we want you to work on this, the next day he's working on it, and you see visual improvement. I remember early in the season, it was Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and they obliterated him in the 4th quarter in pick and roll. Like, threw stuff at him. I wrote about it. He had never seen before. Next time they play, didn't work as much. Like, he was much more prepared. So I think he's learning on the fly, and he's been solid. But at the same time, there's just going to be limitations because it's his first time going through this. I think everybody sees 7'4", gigantic guy, but he's still physically adjusting to playing against grown men every single day.
Physically adjusting. And I always bring this up, and it might be too much before we let you go, but this isn't someone who played basketball his whole life. He played hockey. So when people say, you've always been, how do you not have post moves? Well, he hasn't been developing them since he was a toddler towering over people in rec league. Like, this is somebody who...
He's a little bit raw.
Exactly. So there's a time frame that's different than maybe somebody else who also has that kind of size. Damichael, thank you for coming in and joining us this morning.
Course.
Hopefully the Grizzlies win tomorrow, and we can have you back through
I would
the
love
playoffs.
I would love to be back. Love to be back.
We'll see how it goes.
We'll see what happens.
All right, that's Damichael Cole. You can read his latest at The Commercial Appeal. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, Teresa Walker of the Associated Press will join us on the other side. We'll chat with her about the quarterback situation at Tennessee. I guess I could have mentioned that with Damichael, too. We'll also talk to her about the upcoming NFL draft. That's when we come back.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Emmy, Academy, and Golden Globe award-winning superstar, Mary J. Blige, live in Memphis. The For My Fans Tour, live at FedEx Forum Saturday, April 19th, with special guests Neo and Mario. Get tickets now at livenation.com. The iconic Mary J. Blige for one night only.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Tony was the defensive guy, but Zebo was the offensive guy. So you could speak to this. It's way worse when you're getting doubled, right?
You got triple. I had went through that for when I was in Portland. You had me on the team. You got triple. You hear me, Rose? You can't talk about doubles. You got to talk about triples.
You got triple teams.
This man was scoring on 3 dudes.
Swing, TA.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
I never in a million years would have ever thought that John Cena's final run would be as a heel.
I love it.
I love it.
Once they saw this from The Rock,
They knew it. Everybody knew it except for Cody, which was so good.
great camera work. By
And then the
WWE.
kick. Yeah, I don't think WWE gets enough credit for the camera work and the production quality. I mean, it is incredible.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Debo traded from San Francisco to the Commanders for a 5th round pick. There's no other sport where you would get a player of his ilk for a 5th round pick.
Over under total yards for Debo. If they set it at 1,000, you think he hits that over?
Total yards?
Total yards from scrimmage. Total yards.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
In honor of George Foreman, decided to do a pick 6 on 6 greatest heavyweight boxers of all time.
Number 4, my guy, Mike Tyson. There is no greater feat that I've had. Like if I had my Mount Rushmore of things that I've accomplished in my life, the very first time I beat Mike Tyson in Mike Tyson Punch-Out.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Welcome back. It is Thursday. That means it's time to catch up with one of our favorites, Teresa Walker from the Associated Press. Teresa, how are you doing as your busy season never ends and just continues forever and always?
It does continue forever and always because it's always something, especially in this state. Okay, so, we don't really cover spring football games anymore. And this time last week, the Nico rumors were starting to filter out, but it wasn't, it was like there were smoke signals coming from Knoxville, but the fire didn't start really until Friday. It's like, well, Nico's trying to get more money. It's like, well, that happens. I mean, there was a Vanderbilt basketball player, women's basketball player, who was in the portal. Then she wasn't in the portal. It's like, I'm in, I'm out, I'm in, I'm out. An old MASH reference for anybody who remembers that episode. I can go out, I can go in, I can go out, I can. So it felt a little bit like that. And then on Friday rather, smoke and, there's fire. And unfortunately, I had a feature about Nico getting rhythm down with his new receivers. And by Saturday, he ain't even going to the game, and he is not on the roster. He's not on the website. He's not at the game. They got rid of his name in that Neyland Stadium faster than any woman who broke up with a guy, got rid of his stuff, threw it out the door. And I mean, it was a hot mess. And so now they're looking for another quarterback. They're also in the portal. And I love the spin that's coming from the Nico Iamaleava camp. I'm going with that. That was a nice little turn of phrase by somebody. That he's going to UCLA, and it's because of the offense. And it's like, well, you don't want to use that as an excuse. UCLA's offense was much worse last year than Tennessee's. So it's just, it never stops.
It never stops, and I'm glad that you mentioned that horrible offense in Westwood and what they're doing over at UCLA. If you were looking for a better offense and pro opportunities, I would have looked at the other school in California, but not really, because I do think this is so representative, Teresa, and I've struggled with the Nico situation because, first and foremost, based on how the rules work, how the world works right now, I am in the camp of athletes deserve every single penny they can get. So go get your bag while you can. But there is also a reality where sometimes you can get bad advice and you can think that you're worth more than perhaps you actually end up being worth. And in the case of Nico, to leave Knoxville and go to Los Angeles to not only take a pay cut, as it's being reported, but then you also have to factor in the cost of living adjustment. That's a big reality going from Knoxville to Los Angeles.
Taxes. I mean, it's a whole combination of things. And I'll say this, this renegotiation, he negotiated a deal when he came to Tennessee, which you would presume meant you were going to be part of a team that is playing playing for titles. Right. And so there was one bit that, he was trying to renegotiate even before the college football playoff game last December, that he was asking for things like a better offensive line. Well, guess what? They went out and got 2 transfers and a 5-star. He goes through spring practice. And that's the thing is with the timing, you can renegotiate in the pros because guess what? You hope to have a career that lasts far longer than the average of 3.5 to 4 years. You want to have a long career. There's going to be negotiations. But in college football, college sports, it's a much shorter shelf life. And he came in reportedly with an $8 million deal, allegedly around $2.4 million a year. And there's all these reports coming out that he wasn't doing his end. He was doing the football side, but he wasn't doing showing up at autograph sessions and things like that. And so it's like when you watch the pros, you guys know it in Memphis. These guys are making appearances. They're signing autographs. The Titans, since they got here, have had Tuesdays where they go to a hospital and meet, and visit sick patients and things like that. There are these other things off the field that come with these deals. And if you're going to expect that check in hand, you have to fulfill the other duties. And when you're the quarterback of a program, that involves going to production meetings on the Friday before the spring game, and that's the things. So, I was asked by KJR on Monday, what's the feel? What's the support for Josh Heupel? Never been higher. Because he said, nobody's bigger than the power T, not even me. And for the longtime fans who were given notice last fall, you're going to be paying 15% more on your football tickets this year. Why? 10% of that's going to go to retain and attract top talent. And the coach just said, we're going to do that, but the Tennessee still matters. The Tennessee that you're paying to come watch still matters more. So, and the funniest thing out of this, all this talk about college sports not having guardrails, it seems that Dan Lanning of Oregon helped put in a guardrail, an unspoken guardrail. Hey, Josh Heupel, guess who came wanting to talk to me? It's like they can put in some guardrails and they can say, you know what? You went behind our backs. Fine. Bye-bye. We're moving on. You want to go? Bye-bye. We'll go find somebody else. And that's the other part of this portal, that door swings both ways. Don't let it hit you where the good Lord, never mind.
It does it. One, I do wonder if Nico was perceived as a better quarterback if Dan Lanning would have gone the route of
right. We don't know
whistleblower versus poacher in that scenario. So even these guardrails, they're a little bent.
if he was good.
If he was good, then it becomes a win. And instead, Dan Lanning uses it as a, look at me, I'm Dan Lanning. And I love Dan Lanning as a coach. I hate that my team does not have a Dan Lanning as their coach. I will be perfectly clear. But
I don't know what you love about him. He hasn't won anything.
Exactly, CJ. But it does turn into it's just like, does this help me? No, not really. Okay, in this situation, I'll go give fair warning. It does just continue this chaotic nature of college sports, Teresa. And from having multiple different periods of negotiation windows, because now, yes, Tennessee goes the route of no one is bigger than the power T, and I agree. Like, the fans supported Josh Heupel. That was the perfect thing to say at this time, and it created a rallying cry. You're still without a quarterback now. That's a reality that you now have to fix. Nobody wins in this situation.
No, and there's a reason why football coaches particularly wanted to get rid of that second transfer window after spring ball, because guys use it to renegotiate, find some, try and see if the grass is greener somewhere else. Nico's not the only Tennessee ball that's hit the portal. I mean, a kid who'd played in 22 games, a kid named Slaughter, he's hitting it, but he was mostly a special teamer. And he went through spring practice, and guess what? At every sports level, coaches' jobs are literally to find people who are better than you so that you lose your job, so that they can win more games, get more money for themselves. And, so that's that conundrum. And yes, Jesus is not taking the wheel from college athletic officials and put in rules that everyone is following. And, we thought the House settlement was going to do it. The judge raised some questions. That's not a done deal yet. So it remains a hot mess, and it's going to, because why? Well, the NCAA, which is composed of its member schools, so let's not let colleges, presidents, chancellors, et cetera, off the hook. For 20, 30 years, they've been signing TV deals, raising the prices of tickets, paying coaches more, all the while whistling past the graveyard, thinking college athletes would not come someday with their hand out saying, "I want mine." And and it's like, we've been here, and this mess just keep getting messier, and the weeds are growing high, and nobody wants to take a weed whacker and clean it up.
If you were the czar with the weed whacker, what is the first thing you would do?
One transfer portal for everybody. I'd give a 5th year to everybody, because it took me 5 years to graduate, because I had to take a practicum and take time off to go get experience in my field. It's ridiculous that, Diego Pavia gets a 5th year because he started at this school, but some of these other players, well, you played a different time of year, you don't get a 5th year. Let's start there and have an even out the playing field for all these athletes and all these sports.
Turning it to the NFL, and more importantly, your son's wedding, which is coming up next week. Are you feeling ready for both of those things?
I am, especially since the husband tried on his tux last night and realized, wait a minute, I got to give it, something doesn't fit quite right. So men, I hate to tell you something that we women know. Just because it says it's a size doesn't mean that it is that size, or that it actually fits you still. Sometimes we go out, we go in, and
no, it's not us. It's the clothes, Teresa. It is the clothes. They just sit there, they lay dormant, and they decide they're going to shrink or grow, and you just can't do anything about it.
Exactly. Finally, my husband tried his on last night, thankfully, and so we're going to we got some changes in the process. I had to yell at him, when we got that thing a week ago, and he hadn't tried it on. So, ready for the wedding, and it's bizarrely insane that for the first time in 29 years, I will not be at the draft for the Titans. It'll be the first one I've completely missed. Usually when I've missed it, I was covering either a Predators playoff game or a Grizzlies playoff game. Grizzlies, if they advance tomorrow night, they will be in the capable hands of Clay Bailey for games 3 and 4. I'll be monitoring on my phone at the dress rehearsal and at the wedding while we party. I'll be keeping an eye on things, hopefully. But it's going to be a weird situation. That said, my draft preview for the Titans moves later this afternoon. I can give you a glimpse, a preview of who I think they take it.
All right, give it to us.
Cam Ward.
Oh, wow, I'm shocked. I haven't heard that. That's stunning.
I know.
Stuns. Breaking news.
So stunned, I've already written this analysis of why they're taking him to move next Thursday night.
That's so nice for you. It takes the intrigue out. You're able to do your work ahead of time. I love that for you.
I know. The first time they've gotten it, and at this point, we're a week away. The last time they had it in 2016, they traded that puppy at 8 a.m. in the morning, 2 weeks out from the draft. And it's like, that kind of made my life easy, except they traded back up in the first round and took Jack Conklin, who was an All-Pro as a rookie. So all I can hope is that they have Jaden Daniels-like success with Cam Ward. And I saw somebody did a comparison yesterday of all these quarterbacks, and they compared him to a Ben Roethlisberger. And if he has that kind of career, okay.
In what way is he like Ben Roethlisberger? Is he
I didn't click the
300
clickbait.
He's like Ben Roethlisberger in that he's about to be drafted, CJ, and about to be a quarterback in the National Football League. Do you want more?
No. Can we talk about something important, Teresa, near and dear to my heart? There's a petition going around to get the Nashville International Airport changed to Dolly Parton, the name changed to Dolly Parton. Have you seen the petition? Have you signed the petition? Are we going to be able to be saying things like, "Oh, I'm departing from Parton"? Like, can we get that going?
Or
I need that on the
does
t-shirt.
my flight leave from 9 to 5?
Oh, that's a nice one. Well, I'll just say my heart will, I will always love BNA forever, no matter what it's called. If you've flown a lot out of Nashville, it's BNA. It's BNA. That's the airport code. So
it could be the DP airport, CJ.
DPA?
Yeah.
DPIA, because it's an international airport. We have flights going to Iceland these days, baby, and London.
I saw to Dublin. I just saw the first flight to Dublin went out.
And they have been, the airport, no matter what it's called, they have done incredible stuff. I have seen the petition. I have not signed it. I will sign it. That is one petition I can heartily get behind because I love anything that Miss Dolly has her name attached to. And I can get behind that no matter what it's called. That's the one petition I will sign because there's nothing that Dolly is attached that is not absolutely awesome, brilliant, and wonderful.
I agree. It would make an airport an even better experience, one that I would seek out. I might drive all the way from Memphis to go to a flight at the Dolly Parton Airport. Would they only play Dolly Parton songs in the airport?
You have to only play Dolly songs.
No, you have to. I mean, I guess.
No. They've got
really annoying.
Dolly would be the first one to say, play all the music you want. You know that.
Dolly's playlist of the month. Like Dolly sets the playlist.
Okay.
Now we're cooking.
Dolly Parton's Spotify list.
And you're going to add a roller coaster, and it's going to be like a tag team promotion with Dollywood to get more people going out to Dollywood. So while you're waiting for your flight, why don't airports have amusement parks tied in? What would you rather do while waiting for a flight than ride a loop-de-loop? I don't know. I think that sounds like a great way to spend time. We spend too much time drinking in airport bars, not enough time riding roller coasters at airports.
I mean, the way flights are going now, isn't that kind of like a
get a thrill
ride? I guess kind of thrilling.
Get your adrenaline up.
Is it going to land? Is it going to
Prepare
hit
yourself.
something? I don't know.
We need to be drinking at the airport for the rides these days.
That's true. That is true. Teresa, thank you so much. I did want to ask, just outside of the Titans, because you do cover the entirety of the NFL, the number one storyline going into draft week that you're most excited to see play out and get an answer to.
Where does Shedeur Sanders go? Who takes, is Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter taken before him? I'm beginning to get a feeling that Shedeur Sanders may drop a bit, and I'm curious if he ends up hearing his name called on night one.
All right, Teresa, we'll catch up with you next week. Bye. That was Teresa Walker of the Associated Press. You can always find her latest. I don't know why no one does this as a celebration.
Because we're playing sports. There's no love in sports.
Well, you also, I mean, it might be misinterpreted. Like you don't.
This.
You know what?
What?
They understand because it's not consensual. It's not a consensual heart hand.
Well,
as we learned.
We know in some of these leagues, dudes don't understand consent. Here
I
we go.
still can't believe that happened.
And bow. No love.
Do you think if the consensual heart hands moment happened between the reporter and Caitlin Clark today, it would have the same backlash that it had a year ago?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the whole guy getting the girl from the getting the number from the girl. I think it just shows that we've kind of just. One, sports are supposed to be fun. That guy was not the Braves reporter, but the guy who did the non-consensual heart hands, excuse me. He was creepy with it.
Yeah, real.
So I guess it's
creepy.
the tone.
Like
it's the tone.
He had a voice and everything.
Like the Braves reporter was just like fun out in the middle of a bit.
Hard hands with me.
Yeah, that was weird.
I
didn't like that.
I'm uncomfortable.
I also didn't like
right
your
now.
interpretation of it.
That's what it was. I picture him like
I don't like the
swooning,
moves.
swooning in the seat, like Caitlin. Right? Like, no, yes, ew. That's what it sounded like.
And let's be perfectly clear, we'd have a different conversation if the Braves reporter was like, "Hey, sexy mama,
sexy
could
mama.
I get your number?
First off,
Can I
if it's
get your
2025,
digits?"
if you're calling women sexy mama, you're a creep. But yes, if he was like, ooh, sexy mama.
Hey, baby doll. Hey.
I think baby doll is fine.
Ew, no. You
Baby
clearly
doll
have
is
never been
fine.
called baby doll by a stranger.
Never have.
Baby girl also not.
Baby girl, let me see you do your dance. Let me see you twirl.
You having a good day, baby girl? My favorite thing I've ever done, maybe.
What?
I snapped back and I said, "I'm doing just great, baby boy." Christian Brothers High School, covering a football game. That was a time to be alive. What's up? We will take a break.
Was it a student?
No, it was an administrator.
Oh, okay.
It was an old person.
Turn up.
He was gray.
Turn up.
I said, "You don't call me baby girl.
I'm a big
You
girl.
sicko."
I'm a big girl.
I'm a big girl. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We will do a little Theater Thursday. That Sinners movie that's coming out with Michael B. Jordan. He can call me baby girl any day, anytime, any place.
Oh, he can call me baby
We got
girl
Michael B.
also.
Jordan back in
Goddamn.
theaters,
And
and
it's two of them.
it's two of them. And that movie sounds like it's going to be incredible. We also have some Hamilton-related news that dropped this week, and something that's not quite a movie but should be a movie that I need everybody to be made aware of. You have the opportunity to watch one of the greatest wonders of the natural world, and I'll tell you how when we come back.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
The new issue of Slam, the cover dropped, and it is our friend Jaren Jackson Jr. on the cover.
And shout out to you, Lane.
Yeah.
You kept, well, I mean, we knew about it, but you kept this a secret the whole time. So shout out to you for
I wrote
putting
this story.
together.
We did the photo shoot a couple weeks ago here on a Sunday afternoon in the practice court. The Sneak Fest show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
I see people who look like me and were born probably in the same decade as me, watching all of these young people jump into the transfer portal and saying, it's ridiculous. You got to stop thinking about this like it's a normal college experience. It is not. You know what the priority is? Maximize your earning potential for every year of eligibility you have left. That's what this is about now. These are jobs.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We touched on this earlier, the panel here, about what really has been the mainstay of the Grizzlies, and that's Jaren Jackson Jr. Trip has just been awesome.
He's posting guys up. He's stronger than he's ever been. He's physical, and he's scoring all type of ways.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Before we get into Theater Thursday, some breaking sports news. Lee Corso is leaving College Game Day. He's retiring.
Career well done. One of the greats.
Almost 40 years on one show.
One of the all-time greats. College football game day is as much a part of college football as any football program in this nation right now. And it's that way because in large part of what Lee Corso is and what he did for that program. If I couldn't watch game day for whatever reason when I was watching game day, I always made sure to get near a TV so I could see him put on the damn head.
I was going to say,
I needed to know what he wanted to do, who he was picking for that last game, man.
And I think it was a perfect representation of never take the sport too seriously. It's an educational show, but it's a fun show at its heart, which so much sports media has transformed further that direction. But Lee Corso putting a headgear on of a team, as someone who came out from being a coach and then merged into the media space and became one of the biggest personalities. That's not a gimme, but he also set up the blueprint for other coaches to do that and to remember, like, hey, once you're not a coach anymore, you don't have to take yourself as seriously as you once did.
But you can still be knowledgeable about the topic.
And
that was the thing I enjoyed about game day when Lee Corso was at his height. Was that it was educational. It was very, very informative. They hit you with the heartstring stories, and then they water that down with some goofiness, with some fun. The not so fast, right? The way he would at times go back and forth, teasing and ribbing other people on set in a way that I don't think anybody else did, but he could get away with it because he's Lee Corso. He was so respected on that set and in all of our consciousness for so very, very long. Tremendous job, man. I think you can draw a straight line from Lee Corso to the way sports media is right now. I'm not sure you get, everybody loves the TNT crew, right? I'm not sure if you get that without what Game Day was able to do in the 90s. You know, that's just something that for that time was different in a way that was refreshing and fun and made college football literally an all-day type of thing.
Wake up, watch Game Day.
You had to watch it. To this day, you have to wake up and watch Game Day at 8 o'clock.
Or you at least had to wake up early enough to see the picks.
See the picks.
At the end.
You hung
and
over
the
in college.
Celebrity guest picker and Lee Corso putting on whatever mascot head he was going to put on that morning. 89 years old.
He's 89?
Yeah. I regularly was one of the few defenders left of Lee Corso still being on the show because over the last few years it became increasingly obvious that he's a man in his upper 80s, and the mentals weren't as sharp as they once were. He dealt with some health complications. I loved seeing his friendship with Kirk Herbstreit as somebody who really took care of him and facilitated a path where he could still be on the show, because you have to be taken care of by the people around you in that situation, and Herbstreit really led that charge with Lee Corso. There was a moment last year, I think it was during Notre Dame's playoff game, where Lee Corso was like dancing with the leprechaun and he almost fell. And in that moment, it hit me for the first time. I was like, I don't want to see this man break his hip on national television. That would be tough to see. But in a world where we are so fast to push our elders out, we are so quick to be like, they're old, we don't need to see them anymore. This makes me uncomfortable, so I don't want to see it anymore. And I understand, like, he doesn't have the glow and like the chutzpah that he once had, but I thought it was such a beautiful thing that he got to continue doing something he loved. He didn't want to retire. We talk about coaches never wanting to retire. He wanted to continue to participate in Game Day. And they took care of him in a way that not a lot of companies, like, I don't know if we will ever see somebody as old as Lee Corso have the opportunity to continue doing what they love in that kind of a public space, because we just are doing that even less and less. So I loved it.
I sure as hell hope we don't. I hated that part of it. I hated that part of it. When it's clear that you don't have it. And not just not have it. It was clear that we were talking about this a while after the stroke. It's like, oh, the mind is not near as sharp as what it was or what it needs to be.
There.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm trying to be, because I get uncomfortable too.
Sort of other way, not like that. You don't.
Yeah.
It felt like you were just leaving him vulnerable for criticism and being picked at in a way that was unnecessary when it was all said and done. What?
But don't you think a piece of this is like, I don't want to go too big brain with it, but we have such a discomfort with death and with aging. And so there's something that triggers a response in us, like this person's vulnerable. But for them, it's not a matter of vulnerability necessarily. It's just that it's the beautiful circle of life. Like you've just gotten to this point where you can still make a point, you just don't make it as quickly as you once did. And I wish that we had more of an overexposure to those kind of things, because then perhaps we're not operating from a standpoint of like these people don't matter. And I know you're not saying that Lee Corso doesn't matter, but from
any old person for that
any
matter.
old person, like they
Or
do
anybody.
still matter, and they do still have stories to tell. And there's value that they can, just as there's value that young people add to a workplace, there's value that old people add to that too, if they want to continue. Like, by God, when I'm 89, I hope I'm on a beach with a drink in my hand and I haven't been working for at least 2 years, at least get me to retire by 87. But I don't know. I just think it represents this discomfort with old people that I see all the time.
I think that everything you're saying is true. But this is football, and your life isn't bigger than the college football.
Not bigger than the team.
It's just not. I don't. Right. It's the same issue that I had with Rihanna's Super Bowl performance. Right, where there's this pregnant woman up on stage performing for all these people. I don't give a damn about your baby. Right. This is
Wow.
the Super Bowl.
Never one to leave an opportunity.
But this is the Super Bowl. This is the biggest thing that we got going on. Your individual stuff that you have happening. While in a normal circumstance, I would absolutely be more empathetic and I would absolutely care about those things. In this moment right here, I don't care at all about it. I don't want to be reminded about that. All I want is the football on my screen. So with Lee Corso, when it got to that point, it was, hey, yo, this is affecting the game analysis and breakdown and the fun. Like we got to move on from him, man.
I don't know how to push back. I am not trying to connect the Lee Corso and how we treat our elders to a woman being allowed to perform while pregnant at the Super Bowl.
Perform, Rihanna. Don't
Rihanna's
just stand
existence
there.
is performing. She is a performer. She is a singer.
No. Rihanna comes on stage, does
I'm sorry.
this.
That
does
face
that.
card is all I needed to
Okay.
see.
All right.
But you don't have to. You can be mad at Rihanna as a performer, but don't tie it to the fact that she's pregnant. Don't say just because she's pregnant she shouldn't be.
No.
You're implying that she can't perform to the best of her abilities because she's pregnant.
What I'm implying. Let me stop. If that's what I'm implying, I apologize tremendously.
Okay.
What I'm saying is your pregnant ass better get up there and do more than show your baby bump. Showing your baby bump is not enough of a performance for me. And it shouldn't be for any of us for that damn matter. Like, I'm not impressed by that. I'm not impressed enough. Let me take that back. I'm not impressed enough.
Get back to me when you're pregnant.
I'm not impressed enough by that. I can't because administration. I'm not impressed enough by that for it to be his whole Super Bowl performance. Yeah. That's my issue. And again, going back to the Lee Corso of it all, tremendous, phenomenal. I don't want to get bogged down in what happened towards the end there and just completely forget what a true superstar he was in the sports media landscape and where we are.
I hate that too.
What?
Like, because I hear people say this. I have heard people say that they didn't go visit their parent in like a memory care facility because they wanted their final memory with their parent.
But this isn't a
to
parent.
Be like, I know.
That's the thing.
But you're saying you want this like a lasting memory of Lee Corso in his prime as opposed to, and I got to the same point. I was like, I told you, when I saw him almost fall dancing with the leprechaun, I said, God damn it. Sorry. I don't want my last memory of Lee Corso to be.
Jesus didn't sacrifice himself for you to
It's
take the
almost
Lord's
Good
name
Friday.
in vain. It's tomorrow.
It's almost good. But I did not. That's how much I did not want to see, as I'm talking about him with a good Catholic organization like Notre Dame. I just didn't want to see that. So I understand. I get what you're saying. Shout out Lee Corso. He will be back for one more show on August 30th. So for the first show of the season.
They could have done some pre-produced pieces.
They could have done more of that, yes.
Right, and then you say, all right, we're going to go this way. Don't just send them on the stage the way that they did. Really taking the Lord's veins.
Sorry.
Good Friday is
My
tomorrow.
deepest apologies. I was passionate. I got caught in a moment of passion.
Well, I wish you were passionate about Christ. Somebody should do a movie.
Mel Gibson?
Aren't they doing a second one?
I think they're doing a second one. And I have questions.
How?
I have a lot of questions.
Like,
I have multiple
I thought we
questions.
did.
Anyway, speaking of movies, one of the biggest, most anticipated movies of the year comes out this weekend. It is Sinners, directed by, I always forget his name, Ryan Coogler, and I apologize for forgetting his name. But it's coming out this weekend, and it's tracking to have the biggest opening at movie theaters post-COVID. So currently that record belongs to Jordan Peele's Nope, which brought in 44 million opening weekend, and they're anticipating anything between 40 and 50 million for Sinners. I watched a 10-minute video of Ryan Coogler explaining the different film formats and why he used the one that he used. And it was the epitome of, if someone talks passionately about something, you can get into it. Because I don't understand the difference in film. But he was so just like enthralling talking about the specific format. He shot it entirely on large format, 65 millimeter, telling me about the perforations of the film and how it's different from a general screen to IMAX. Anyway, obviously a lot of care went into the aesthetics of making this film, but it is supposed to be awesome. Like the tweet that we just showed with the anticipation that everyone who has seen this movie so far has loved this movie. And I think it's like 90+%, 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. I would like to go see it. I don't want to see it this weekend because that would imply that I don't have a Grizzlies game to prepare for on Sunday.
It's 3 days on the weekend.
CJ, Grizzlies Mavs, 8:45 p.m.
They make light work of the Mavs on Friday.
Pre-game show, double post.
8:45.
8:45 p.m.
And then you go and get DP. All right, so there we go. Then Saturday, what you got?
Saturday, I'm recovering from a late DP. Also, getting ready for a noon game on Sunday. I'm sorry.
I didn't know it was
Are you not
noon.
preparing for Easter Sunday?
I didn't know it was noon. Oh, I don't have to prep anything.
If the exactly. So I don't have time to. If I want to celebrate Easter, if I want to do the appropriate celebrations
for leisure.
I have no leisure.
Also,
What is leisure? Leisure comes in the off season.
You won't find an hour 45 where you're just playing on your phone and watching something on TV.
Well, Sinners is 2:17, and the act of driving to the movie theater is at
Just
least
go to
10
the one
minutes.
around the corner.
It's still 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
10 minutes from like
It's not
no,
10 minutes.
No, you're not listening. You have to build in 10 minutes. I can drive 5 minutes and then get there 5 minutes ahead of time, get my tickets, get a little snacky, and be in the movie theater. You hear what I'm saying? Like,
Okay,
you have
so
to-
that's
2:35,
2.5
and then
hours.
5 minutes back is 2:40. But
So
that's
see,
implying that, I don't have to pee after the movie, and I usually do because I try not to go during the movie. So let's add 10 on the other side. And now we're talking about a 2:45 situation if we're getting into the specificities.
All right.
Chris asked me if I wanted to play golf on Saturday. I said,
No,
golf who
golf
has
is
time
way
for
too
golf?
long. Golf is way too long. No, I understand
Same.
that, but seeing a movie isn't going to be. I'm going to go see it.
I can't wait.
I'm going to go see it.
Apparently there's some musical elements to it. And that
Oh.
makes me excited.
Oh, all right. I've been trying not to look into
I don't know
what
anything
it is.
about it.
So yeah, I look forward to sitting there. I know it's unnerving, unsettling, a bit creepy.
Yes.
I don't know if the missus can go, but she's going to try and sit through it because 2 Michael B. Jordans for the price of 1. Ooh, hot damn, who's not going to go see that? It won't be me. I'll be there.
I won't be missing it.
I'll be there.
I would never miss it.
Drink in hand.
There was even, I was like, the way we talk about Michael B. Jordan, like, I hope he's okay with it. I hope it's consensual. Because they even talked
can't
about
be
him.
consensual.
They even talked about him on the WNBA draft. Like, out of nowhere, someone was thirsting over Michael B. Jordan, and I was just like, girl, same. What are we doing here? This director did I don't think he did the first Creed movies, but he did the other 2 Creed movies. And he did Judas
Coogler?
and the Black Messiah. Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Did Coogler do the first Creed?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Coogler did all of the
3
Creed.
Creeds?
Like these.
As a trilogy?
It was 3 of them at once upon a time. It was Coogler. It was Michael B.
Oh.
It was Jonathan Majors. That was was like, oh, okay, that's a trio I can get behind. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Coogler did all 3 Creeds. He did Black Panther.
He did Fruitvale Station.
Fruitvale Station,
great.
which was, think about these movies, they all have Michael B in them. They're clearly homeboys and tremendous at their job. Greatness recognizes greatness. And so Sinners is the new one.
I now want him to do.
Who?
Coogler.
Okay.
Or Peele.
Okay.
I just finished like a horror. It's hard to call it a comedy, but it's written in a comedic style. It's called The Trees by Percival Everett, and it has one of those directors written all over it. It's this like supernatural, mystical retelling of lynchings in America, which a heavy topic, but it's done in like a murder mystery whodunit fashion, like a detective whodunit type through Mississippi. And I've become such a, I don't know if like real Memphians do this, people who have lived here their whole lives, but as a new-aged Memphian, anytime Memphis pops up in a book that I'm reading, I get so excited.
Go try and find the spot where it's taking place.
So excited. Yeah. Like this book takes place in a fake, no, I don't think it's a fake. Is it Mason, Mississippi? No, Money, Mississippi.
I'm not sure.
Is Money, Mississippi where Emmett Till was from?
I don't know. I'll look it up.
Okay, I don't know. There's some historical, like factual historical notes in the book, and then in others, it feels as if certain things are. Yeah. Is it Money, Mississippi?
It's a real place.
Okay, so it's based in Money, Mississippi, but a portion of it ends up being in Memphis, and they're at the Peabody, and one of the detectives is like, dang it, I really wanted to see the ducks. And the other detective's like, what ducks? And he's like, every day they bring ducks down in an elevator from the penthouse on the roof, and they put them in the fountain. And it just read like such an absurd thing that surely is made up. But if you're in Memphis, you know those ducks are as real as anything, and they go to Beale Street and all that. So anyway, the book is awesome. It's called The Trees. Highly recommend. But I could see one of those directors turning it into a movie someday, and I would very much be interested in seeing that come to life.
He was indeed, in fact, lynched in Money, Mississippi.
The family, the woman and the family who did it are one of the pieces of the book, certainly not the entirety.
Emmett Till from Chicago, lynched in Money, Mississippi. Coogler directed the first
and not
Creed,
the other two Creeds?
Yeah, directed the first Creed and Fruitvale Station, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Sinners. He's got production credits on Judas and the Black Messiah, Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Space Jam: A New Legacy?
He wrote Creed 3 and produced Creed 3. He produced Creed 2. I thought he directed all of them, but he was just a producer on all of them and a writer on the third.
Gotcha. Other theater news for people who love Hamilton. I feel like this is a giant recession indicator. Leslie Odom Jr. is returning to Hamilton, which is fantastic, but I feel like we're doing bait casting of the original Hamilton cast, which, listen, if I lived in New York City, I would try to go see members of the original Hamilton cast come back to Hamilton. And now the rumor mill is swirling of like, ooh, who else is potentially going to come back? Is Renee Goldberry going to come back at some point and reprise her role? But maybe eventually we just get to the entire cast of Hamilton coming back and doing Hamilton at some point. But the theater people were obsessed with this. CJ, I didn't even send this. You sent this in.
I'll be on the lookout for you.
You know?
I'll be looking out. I know your little theater nerd heart would have some things to say about Leslie Odom.
I'm in the middle of
shout out to Antoine. Antoine also sent me that. That's one of the ways it came across my feed.
I'm trying to re-find love and joy in Hamilton. This is a current self project.
What's the issue
really
with
spoken it out loud. I became a Hamilton hater.
But you don't hate Hamilton. You hate how everybody reacts to their love of Hamilton.
Correct, but in that, I became a Hamilton hater.
All right.
Like I just didn't I don't listen to the cast album. I mean, fun fact, when I was doing the St. Jude half marathon, I think people thought they were being, helpful when they would donate money. And I said, if you donate any money, you can add a song to my playlist. And people were like, oh, I'll put a Hamilton song on it. And I was like, no, not another I don't want to run to Hamilton. But even before the Grizzlies Timberwolves game, I listened to the Hamilton soundtrack as I was getting ready. And I'm at least willing to say that Satisfied is a top 10 song I sing along with from a Broadway musical. And that's growth.
Which Timberwolves game?
The last one. The bad
All right,
one.
Don't listen to Hamilton anymore.
Yeah, I won't. Sorry. Right. It's been ruined again.
Well, wait till June. The end of June. Make it July.
Before we leave, just one thing I wanted to put on everybody's radar. There is now a 24-hour live stream of moose migrating that you can go to at any point in time, and people are getting so caught up in this event. It is a 20-day, 24-hour event, and it is airing on a Swedish television station, but you can watch it online. It is called The Great Moose Migration. The show is actually called the Den Stora Älvvandringen in Swedish, which is sometimes translated as the Great Elk Trek. But it began in 2019 with nearly 1 million people watching, and now last year they hit 9 million viewers, and they anticipate it to continue to grow because it's hit TikTok and the social media platform. But I will say I kind of like rolled my eyes at it, and then I turned it on. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to watch the moose migrate.
All right.
Not gonna lie.
Turn up.
You know?
Can you do the Sonic mailbag question?
Oh my gosh. Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, read the question.
Can you do the Sonic mailbag question?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Hold on, let me find it.
Thank you. Is there anything that can happen to stop this season from feeling like a failure? Thank you, Mr. Moore. I forget your first name. Raymond. Thank you, Raymond Moore, for the question. There it is.
I
mean, it starts with a win tonight, doesn't it?
Tomorrow.
Get
the day right.
Yeah.
It starts with showing up at FedEx Forum to get one of the free tickets to tomorrow game.
So it does start tonight.
So technically, yeah, you got to get yourself ready.
Get the free
fans have to
tickets.
get themselves ready as well. The team is getting itself ready.
I don't know if it's a party in my city, but there's a party in the plaza. They got stuff going on being built out there.
I see stuff.
Yeah.
I see stuff.
Yeah.
Win tomorrow. To answer the question in all seriousness, unless you start a run that is like a shocking
Heat-like
playoff
run?
Yes. Like you go in and you take game 1 in Oklahoma City and suddenly it's not a series. Hey, you know how you're staving off elimination? It's not a series until the home team loses a game. So if the Grizzlies have that and ultimately were to find themselves in the second round of the playoffs, I think you're able to talk about things from a different lens. But obviously that's going to take a lot of work and would be the unexpected outcome so far. Just beating the Mavs probably isn't enough to say the season is not a failure.
But you can't go on that
But you
run.
can't go on a run without beating the Mavs.
And you can't beat the Mavs if you, the fans, don't come out here and get those free tickets.
And you can't let the Mavs be a 10 seed. No one wants to see a 10 seed make the playoffs.
No.
Please. We just let them in to be nice.
Yeah.
We need an even number in the play-in tournament, you know? 7, 8, 9, okay, 10.
There it is.
Okay, 10. Look at the moose migration. Come on.
Not much of a migration. That's
well, right
one
now
damn
it's one
moose.
moose in the water, but you never know what you're gonna see. I saw a whole pack of moose in.
Do moose swim or do they walk on the ground like the hippos do in the water?
I think they swim.
Okay. Because you'll be...
Look at this thing.
You'll
Come
be
on.
surprised how big moose
Look at his
are.
ears. Yes, moose are excellent swimmers and
Okay.
often enjoy spending time in the water. They can swim at speeds up to 6 kilometers per hour.
That's terrifying.
Moose swim for various reasons: to cool off, to forage for aquatic vegetation, and to escape predators. Look at him.
I think that's a her.
Look at her, yeah, because she doesn't have antlers.
Oh, well, don't the...
Or is it a baby?
Don't the male moose lose their antlers in the wintertime? Deer do that, and then they have to grow them back.
Do they?
I'm pretty
Not
sure.
all, only male moose
Yeah.
have antlers. Female
Correct.
moose, also known as cows. What's the difference between a female moose and a cow?
That's
And why are
what
we-
we call female moosing. We call them cows. Just like we call...
But they're not cows as we know
No.
cows. It's a different
No,
kind of
it's
cow.
just-
God,
it's
the
just
American
feminine.
language is so
Yeah.
stupid.
I'm assuming that we call male moose bulls. That would be my guess.
A
That's
bull
just-
moose.
Yeah, that's just what we do.
It's not just a bull. It's, oh, look at him. Come
Or
on.
her.
Or her, excuse me.
Or her.
I don't mean to misgender. That's
I mean,
my
there's,
bad.
There's no antlers, and I don't see anything dangling back there.
She's so cute.
Okay. I
The
bet moose
great
tastes
moose
good.
migration.
Did you figure out the antler thing?
No.
Okay, great. Thanks for looking that up. I thought that's what you were doing.
Oh, I was. I mean, my
Okay.
point was that female moose don't have antlers. Male moose do, but I did not find if they shed their antlers or not.
All right.
Sorry. I'll do some more moose research and get back to you tomorrow. It'll be a Friday. Lang Whitaker will join us. We will see you all then. Have a great rest of your Thursday, everybody. Bye.
Yes, moose lose their antlers or shed their antlers every year. This is fascinating and completely natural process, is a key part of the life cycle for the bull moose, and it's driven by hormones.